Pericopsis elata, also known as African Teak, Afromosia or crocodile, is classified as endangered on the IUCN Red List of Species and Appendix 2 species according to CITES. The African teak has been a target of unsustainable exploitation since the second half of the 20th century. This is due to its incredible timber properties and versatility in its usage. The extent of its exploitation has pushed the species to the brink of extinction in Ghana. Although national legislation prohibits its exploitation for both local and international timber markets, the species is faced with threats from excessive illegal logging, illegal mining, and activities of forest fringe communities. Meanwhile, natural regeneration in the species is extremely low. Thus, unless conservation interventions are provided, the species will be driven to local extinction in Ghana. Thankfully, the Institute of Nature and Environmental Conservation, Inec Ghana, and Foundation Franklania, together with their partners, Forestry Research Institute of Ghana, Forestry Commission, and Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, are leading the way to give the African teak a fighting chance for survival through the Conservation of the African Teak in Ghana project. The overall goal of this project is to improve the conservation status and ensure the long-term sustainability of the endangered African teak, also known as Pericopsis elata, in Ghana. Specifically, the project seeks to increase the population of the species through enrichment planting, provide much-needed data on the species phenology and ecology to underpin conservation management decisions, and implement targeted conservation education and awareness on the plight and conservation status of the species. This is to inspire positive behavior change and to train local farmers to undertake Pericopsis elata plantations. The project also aims to plant at least 100,000 African teak seedlings in 2 years. Some of the activities undertaken so far includes seeds collection, storage, and raising of seedlings. The project from its inception has been gathering seeds from local communities and in forest reserves where the species can be found. The seeds collected are taken through various processes and are stored in airtight jars at a temperature of -10 degrees Celsius at the cold room of the National Tree Seed Center at Forestry Research Institute of Ghana. So far, the project has successfully raised about 30,000 seedlings.
So here at the gene bank or the seed bank of the Forestry Research Institute of Ghana, seeds of Pericopsis elata are stored in airtight glass jars at a temperature of -10 degrees. This ensures that the seeds can maintain viability over the long term, and seeds will always be available for the restoration project and the conservation of Pericopsis elata in Ghana. We also ensure that we carry out regular tests so that whilst in storage, the seeds do not lose viability. With the kind support of the institutes, there is regular tests that is carried out on these seeds to ensure that we maintain viability. The idea is to be able to support the Pericopsis elata conservation work that is currently ongoing.
The project team has also undertaken a reconnaissance survey to the various 10 sites where different activities will take place. This was done to familiarize themselves with the communities and other stakeholders. The project is also studying the ecology and phenology of the African teak in Ghana, and this activity is led by Mr. James Amponsa. So far, The project is monitoring Pericopsis elata stands at Bobri Forest Reserve, Esukese and Impamiso Forest Reserves. The project was launched in July 2020 at Akuta, a French community to the Asinayo Forest Reserve. The launch included conservation education on the species, status and plight, stakeholder engagement on restoration protocols, and development of sustainable livelihood for the local communities. The launching was attended by the project partners as well as media, local government representatives, and many others. Highlights of the launching was the planting of the first 1,000 seedlings of Pericopsis elata by the communities on the project's conservation plot. The first seedlings was planted by the queen of the community. This was to signify the acceptance of the project and goodwill for its success. The local people believe that the soil is female, hence the female traditional leader had to plant first in accordance with local customs and traditions. This was followed by the local chief, who is the spiritual head of the communities. During site preparation for enrichment planting, the project worked together with local farmers to prepare about 20 hectares of degraded lands for establishing conservation plots for Pericopsis elata. Portions of the lands were divided to households who has the responsibility to weed and prepare the land for tree planting. The farmers were thus given the opportunity to plant their food crops on the land until the Pericopsis elata seedlings grow and form a canopy. The sites were pegged in accordance with planned optimum planting distance trials. Portions of the land were pegged 3 meters by 3 meters, whilst others were pegged 4 meters by 4 meters and 5 meters by 5 meters. This was to allow monitoring of the growth and success of the seedlings. Data from the trials will help determine which planting distance is optimal for Pericopsis elata plantation development. For field establishment, seedlings were transported from the nursery of the National Trade Center to the intervention site at Akuta. The seedlings were planted by qualified field staff according to the pegging distance. Once planted, the pegs are flagged with brightly colored flagging tapes. Flagging the pegs are necessary so that farmers do not mistake seedlings for weeds. Farmers from the community are also given the opportunity to cultivate crops on the land whilst caring for the seedlings. The crops in turn provide shade for the seedlings, preventing desiccation and reducing soil temperatures, especially during the dry season. The project will also be training the farmers on Pericopsis elata plantation development. In view of this, the project has prepared all the technical documents and training manuals for training farmers who would then be given seedlings for cultivation on their private lands. Already, farmers in 10 communities have been selected. However, the COVID-19 global pandemic has caused substantial delay in undertaking the training. Another aim of the project is to develop alternative livelihoods, and Dr. Thomas Yeboah, the livelihood consultant for Inec, will lead this project. Baseline surveys have already been undertaken to ascertain the intervention on which each community would require training. However, this activity has also been halted by the COVID-19 global pandemic. In addition, Dr. Albert Ahen will lead the stakeholder consultations and development of Conservation Action Plan. The first stage of stakeholder consultation have been completed. Currently, the development of draft Conservation Action Plan is ongoing. The second phase of stakeholder consultation will take the form of a mini-conference where the draft action plan will be presented for inputs from different interest groups. This will then be followed with validation meeting to present the final draft. In the coming months, we will roll out trainings of farmers on Pericopsis elata plantation development and training on alternative livelihood programs in selected communities. We will also expand our conservation plots, raise more seedlings for distribution to farmers, and finalize the drafting of the Conservation Action Plan.
Yang kasa